All of our Blackhawks brethren are creaming their jeans because of this phenom kid they got. It was a very obvious choice. Everybody wanted to grab him. A kid named Connor Bedard went first overall in the NHL draft and went to my Chicago Blackhawks. He's 17 years old. He's been playing some form of professional hockey since he was 14. He looks like he's 11. He's 5'9", really he's 180, huh?
He's real good?
He's amazing, yeah. He's from Regina. And he got... he was
Funnest city in the world. What's their slogan?
What? I'm sorry?
What was Regina's?
Go play with your Regina or something, or I forget what it was. I'm airing it for one of the Sum Up shows this week.
2 in the Regina, 1 in the Alberta.
That I don't remember, but I think you might have fired that one off to him, and you got a strongly worded rejection letter from them, as I recall. But Connor Bedard is already, they're already, hard to get Blackhawks tickets.
If the Blackhawks know what's good for them, they will get with the Black Eyed Peas and have them do a new version of Let's Get It Started, which was originally...
Let's Get Retarded.
Yes, but now it's got to be Let's Get Bedard.
Let's get Bedarded in here. So
this makes the most sense.
Yeah, he got signed. He got signed to the Canadian Western Hockey League when he was 14, and they were like, well, let's see what this kid can do. And by the time he was 16, they realized that he was no fluke. And so he has fully exceeded expectations of what people thought he could do. And so the Chicago Blackhawks have signed him. He's 17 years old. Once they announced back in May...
This is the draft, right?
Yeah. Once they announced that they were getting the number 1 pick in the draft in May, they sold about $3 million worth of season tickets because everybody knew they were going to grab this kid. And so as a lifelong Chicago Blackhawks fan, I'm very excited to see what happens here. They're referring to him as a franchise-changing prospect. So who knows? You know, when I used to do things with the Pittsburgh Penguins when they brought Sidney Crosby in, Sid the Kid, he was 17 years old, I think. And it was, they were hoping that he would be the spiritual successor to Mario Lemieux. And he lived up to the hype. So, yeah, it's very exciting. There is a podcast called, what is this called? Penalty Box Radio. I love when podcasts use the word radio. Penalty Box Radio is a hockey podcast. I don't know how many people listen to it, but the draft was in Nashville. And the host, it is amazing how many people do podcasts. See, if you were doing radio, you would know how to work the equipment. It's amazing how many people do podcasts and know nothing about mic skills or anything like that. These guys that do these interviews, and as they're talking, they'll move the mic away from their face. It's very, very strange. Like they don't have their rhythms down. That's kind of what this guy was doing. This guy got a little bit of traction because he was on the streets in downtown Nashville just talking to people about the NHL draft, and starts talking to a guy named Kyle. Had no idea that it was Kyle Davidson, who is the GM of the Chicago Blackhawks, on the street. So the dude doing the All Things Hockey podcast had no clue that this guy was the general manager of the Blackhawks. And so he's just talking to him like a regular dude. And Kyle's going along with it. He's like, yep. I mean, he didn't have a suit on. He had like a T-shirt. He had a backwards cap on. But it's just downtown Nashville. And this guy thinks he's talking to civilians, and for the most part, he is. But if you're doing a hockey podcast and you couldn't pick this guy out, I mean, a little weird. I don't know.
What's your name and where are you from?
Kyle from Chicago.
From Chicago?
Yeah.
You ever been to Nashville before?
A couple times, yeah.
For a Blackhawks game?
Yeah.
All right, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much would you say you know about hockey?
Probably like, I didn't play professionally or anything, so probably like a 4.
Oh, wow, okay.
Fan of the sport, I don't know. Some people say I don't know that much, so.
Okay. Most of the 2010 or 2013 Chicago Blackhawks, were you watching that team?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think that the league rigged the draft in favor of the Chicago Blackhawks?
No.
Pretty confident.
I'm very confident.
Okay. All right. There we go.
Anywho. So somebody hit him up and said, hey, dummy, you know who that was?
That's like when they interviewed Jordan Clarkson about going to jazz games. Like, you go to jazz games? He's like, yeah, I go to quite a few.
You have floor seats? You can say that. Yeah. I'm out there on the floor.
Personally, you never know what's going to happen, and for it to be Chicago and to kind of be able to be that stand-up, hug my parents, hug my sister, and be here with a lot of friends and family is so special, and what an organization to go to, so I couldn't be happier to be a Blackhawk.
Oh, cripe. I'm Connor Bedard. I'm from North Vancouver. I couldn't be more excited to be one of the original franchises. He is 17 years old. He will be 18 years old on the 17th of July. He's only the second ever first pick for the Chicago Blackhawks. Patrick Kane was the last one we had. And that was a good, Christ, when did we get Patrick? I was still back at home when Patrick Kane got picked. But anyway, if you are an expat, maybe you are a Chicago Blackhawks fan here in Northeast Ohio, you are as pleased as I am. NHL also announcing they're banning cause jerseys. Because hockey is arguably the whitest of all the professional sports. And so invariably when they would do special night jerseys or special month jerseys, there would be players that would say that they were not going to wear the jerseys. They would refuse to wear the jerseys. And so that really threw a wrench in teams that were doing like Pride Month jerseys or Pride Night jerseys and things like that. And those guys would always make the news, and people would be upset with them. But these were guys that didn't want to wear the Pride jersey, whatever. And so the NHL said, we're not doing cause jerseys anymore. Like, we'll still work with various charities. We'll still have theme nights. We're not going to do the jerseys anymore. I think it's partially like the fans' fault too. Because, well, fans, there's no pleasing the fans. The fans never know what they want, right?
Yep.
Anytime a team goes, hey, we're going to wear these jerseys, and people go, oh, this is just corporate nonsense. Yep. It's not doing anything. And then they go, okay, we'll get rid of them. People are like, you guys suck. You're cowards. It's like, okay, what do you want? People don't know what they want. They're always complaining or bitching about something. So for them to go, we're still going to do the night, whatever. We're not doing the jerseys anymore. We're not going to have the rainbow blue jacket logo.
Yeah, it's probably pretty cost prohibitive too, because they probably made a bunch of those jerseys and we're trying to sell them. And for hockey, you're just not going to, I mean, for any sport, you're probably not going to sell a lot of Pride jerseys.
There's a high price point on those jerseys.
Because those jerseys are expensive as hell anyway.
Anyways, yeah. There was like a couple I've seen, I think when the Guardians did Pride Night, or maybe it was the Cavs, and there was like a hoodie that was like a Pride themed. That's cool. I like the design on that, but I think I do agree. I think it should be reserved for the fans if they will want to interpret it that way, because there's no way the players are going to do it without people interpreting that as them taking a stand or them being.
Well, a lot of players have no issue with it, but
there are some that do though.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Invariably, there will be. Maybe in the entire league, there's like you can count on one hand the guys who don't do it.
Some people can't separate it though. Some people can't, like, oh, well, you're wearing this jersey. They don't understand. Listen, I'm going along to get along. My contract, I have to support certain causes because the team supports it, the corporation supports it. People don't know that.
Or it's just a team sport. I'm supporting my team.
They don't see that.
Well,
there's also, I feel like hockey's the only one where they were doing the Pride jerseys. Like, they just did Pride Night for the Guardians, and I don't think they're wearing a special jersey on the field. They had a lot of Pride merchandise that you could buy, and you can, show your sport, and they did a lot of that stuff. But I don't think there was Pride Guardians jerseys worn on the field. I know basketball doesn't do that.
But I think it's weird, though, because you never seen LeBron be forced to wear like a Pride jersey. You've never.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's only hockey that I think I've seen. Hockey did the Pride thing, and then back years ago in the NFL, they do the Susan G. Komen like wearing pink on your jersey somewhere.
I've never seen LeBron wear that either.
Well, that was in the NFL.
Okay,
but the NBA they have their own different alternate jerseys, but it's never a specific thing. The closest they came to something like that was they put like Black Lives Matter, like warm-up shirts and stuff like that. But they weren't on the jersey. It was just like before the game, they'd be wearing that, or they wore the I Can't Breathe shirts, stuff like that. But it's not something that and it was up to the players to choose to wear that. It wasn't like a mandate, I don't think.
Before we move on from Canada, one of the greats has passed away. Used to play a lot of clips of her here on this show. I haven't for a long, long time. And I don't remember when she got to be so well known down here. I remember watching her when we would be in Toronto, but Sue Johansson has died. You remember Sue Johansson?
Oh, yeah.
She was that Canadian. She did Talk Sex up in Canada. This was a Sunday night sex show.
I remember her.
Talk Sex with Sue Johansson.
Some old lady talking about, oh, yeah.
My genitals are all slippery. Whoopsie. Yeah, I used to play all these clips of Sue Johansson.
I was too young to be watching her show, but I would stay up late because that's what kids do. I was curious. And someone was talking about putting ice in their vagina.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just wouldn't do that.
No, she was very informative and deadpan, and she was a beloved Canadian broadcaster who did this show. It was later in life for her. She's 93 when she died.
Oh,
she was in a long-term care facility just north of Toronto. But she did a call-in radio show for a while and then a television show. It's called Sunday Night Sex Show. It couldn't have been more straightforward. And then they did, for a while, I think what we were seeing was the spin-off they did in the U.S. It was called Talk Sex with Sue Johansson. But the show in Canada was called Sunday Night Sex Show. And she used to just take calls from people and give them tips.
Me and my girlfriend were wondering if having sex in a hot tub is a good idea or not.
Not.
No?
No. Sex in a hot tub, okay? Now, the hot tub has got chlorine in it, hasn't it? Absolutely. Got chlorine in it. I know that.
Like the ones at Northeast Factory Direct, Bill.
Hey.
And so, you're having sex under the water.
Right.
You're thrusting penis in vagina.
Well, anyway. But it was all straightforward.
I love it.
There was nothing salacious about it. People are calling her with questions, and she's like, no, here's why you shouldn't do that.
Matter of factly, this is what's going on, yeah.
There was one, and
that's good advice. Don't have sex in a hot tub.
You get sore, raw, red, irritated. And then,
right? And she'd have these little exclamations too. She'd be like, "Ugh, ugh."
There was one that she said, and I'm gonna try and because I don't know how to say it without getting done. But a girl was trying to ejaculate, I guess, and the lady was like, Sue said, "Well, when you think you're gonna pee, just let her rip."
Yeah, right.
She said it just like that. She said, "Just let her rip."
Let her rip.
I was like, okay, so that's how that happens.
Well, I think that I'm going to, whoever texted me that, thank you, but I think I'm going to produce a more official and proper memorial to Sue Johansson for tomorrow's show. I think we'll put something there. But yeah, she was 93 years old and just very matter of fact about it. I think she was just a teacher. She was an educator. She had been training to be a nurse. But she was being taught by nuns, and so obviously all the sex stuff was very, very hush-hush. And so as an older educator, she was like, let's get all the taboo stuff out of the way. Let's talk to adults like they're adults. And it was very straightforward, and a lot of people weren't used to that. And so, but she became a big name for a while. But she never had any kind of, never aspired to be a celebrity or anything like that. She's like just telling people about sex and how it works. So Sue Johansson has passed away. Up there, the great vibrator in the sky, the great chlorine hot.